Welcome to our countdown of the top 10 most intense sports rivalries. These are the matchups that get fans on the edge of their seats, players fired up, and rivalries that have lasted for generations. Let's get started. Number 10. Yankees vs. Red Sox. The rivalry between the New York Yankees and the Boston Red Sox has been going on for over a century. These two teams have battled it out in some of the most iconic games in baseball history. Over the years, the Yankees-Red Sox rivalry has produced countless memorable moments and legendary players. Here are just a few of the most iconic. The 1978 one-game playoff. In one of the most dramatic games in baseball history, the Yankees and Red Sox faced off in a winner-takes-all game to determine who would advance to the playoffs. The game went back and forth, with the Red Sox taking a 2-0 lead early on, only to see the Yankees tie it up in the 7th inning. In the 9th inning, the Red Sox took a 3-2 lead, but the Yankees rallied to tie it up again. Number 9. Michigan vs. Ohio State. The rivalry between the University of Michigan Wolverines and Ohio State Buckeyes is one of the oldest and most intense in college football. The two teams have been playing against each other since 1897. Over the years, the Michigan-Ohio State rivalry has produced countless memorable moments and legendary players. Here are just a few of the most iconic. The 1969 game. In one of the most iconic games in college football history, Ohio State and Michigan faced off with the Big Ten championship on the line. Ohio State was undefeated and ranked number 1 in the country, while Michigan was ranked number 12. The game was a defensive battle, with Ohio State winning 14-9 thanks to a late touchdown run by quarterback Rex Kern. Number 8. Celtics vs. Lakers. The Boston Celtics and Los Angeles Lakers have a storied rivalry that has defined the NBA for decades. These two teams have faced each other in the NBA Finals over a dozen times, making for some of the most intense basketball games ever played. Over the years, the Celtics-Lakers rivalry has produced countless memorable moments and legendary players. Here are just a few of the most iconic. Game 7 of the 1962 NBA Finals. In one of the greatest games in NBA history, the Celtics and Lakers faced off in a winner-take-all game for the championship. The game went into overtime, with the Celtics ultimately winning 110-107 thanks to a clutch performance by Bill Russell, who had 30 points and 40 rebounds. Number 7. India vs. Pakistan. The cricket rivalry between India and Pakistan is one of the most intense sports rivalries in the world. These two countries have a long-standing history of political and cultural tension, which spills over onto the cricket field. Over the years, the India-Pakistan rivalry has produced countless memorable moments and legendary players. Here are just a few of the most iconic. 1986 Austral-Asia Cup Final. In one of the most dramatic games in cricket history, India and Pakistan faced off in the final of the Austral-Asia Cup. Chasing a target of 246, India were struggling at 5-90 before Kapil Dev played one of the greatest innings in cricket history, scoring 175 not out to lead India to an improbable victory. Sachin Tendulkar vs. Wasim Akram. Two of the greatest players in cricket history, Tendulkar and Akram were the faces of the rivalry in the 1990s and 2000s. They faced off numerous times, with each player pushing the other to new heights. Number 6. Real Madrid vs. Barcelona. The rivalry between Real Madrid and Barcelona, two of the most successful soccer clubs in the world, is known as El Clásico. This matchup brings together some of the best players in the world, and the atmosphere in the stadium is always electric. Over the years, the Real Madrid-Barcelona rivalry has produced countless memorable moments and legendary players. Here are just a few of the most iconic. 1943 Copa del Rey Final. In one of the earliest meetings between the two teams, Real Madrid and Barcelona faced off in the final of the Copa del Rey. The game was played in front of a packed house at the Mestalla Stadium in Valencia, with Real Madrid ultimately winning 11-1. Number 5. Army vs. Navy. The Army-Navy football game is one of the oldest and most storied rivalries in college football. This annual matchup between two of the United States military academies dates back to 1890. Over the years, the Army-Navy rivalry has produced countless memorable moments and legendary players. Here are just a few of the most iconic. 1963 Army-Navy game. In one of the most famous games in college football history, Army and Navy faced off in a game that ended in a 21-21 tie. The game was played in front of a packed house at Municipal Stadium in Philadelphia, with millions of fans around the country tuning in to watch. The game is still remembered as one of the most exciting and dramatic games in the history of the rivalry. Roger Staubach, one of the greatest players in Navy football history, Staubach led the midshipmen to 2 victories over Army during his career. Number 4. Ali vs. Frazier. The boxing rivalry between Muhammad Ali and Joe Frazier is one of the most intense in sports history. These 2 fighters faced each other 3 times, with each fight becoming more intense and personal than the last. The Ali-Frazier rivalry produced 3 epic fights, each of which was a defining moment in the sport of boxing. Here are just a few of the most iconic. Fight of the Century, 1971. The first fight between Ali and Frazier was billed as the fight of the century, and lived up to its hype. The 2 fighters went toe-to-toe for 15 rounds, with Frazier ultimately winning by unanimous decision. The fight was a brutal and grueling battle, with both fighters taking a tremendous amount of punishment. Number 3. Australia vs. England. The cricket rivalry between Australia and England is one of the oldest and most intense in the world of sports. The Ashes, a series of test matches played between these 2 countries, is one of the most highly anticipated events in the cricket calendar. The Australia-England rivalry has produced some of the greatest players and moments in the history of cricket. Here are just a few of the most iconic. The Bodyline Series, 1932-33. The Bodyline Series was a controversial test series played between Australia and England in 1932-33. England employed a tactic known as bodyline, in which fast bowlers bowled short, pitched deliveries aimed at the batsman's body. The tactic was seen as dangerous and unsportsmanlike, and led to tensions between the 2 teams. Despite the controversy, England won the series 4-1. Number 2. Celtics vs. Rangers. The Old Firm Derby, the rivalry between the Celtic and Rangers soccer clubs in Glasgow, Scotland, is one of the most intense in sports. This match brings together 2 of the most intense in sports. This match brings together 2 of the most passionate fan bases in the world of soccer and is known for its intense atmosphere. The Celtics-Rangers rivalry has produced some of the greatest players and moments in the history of Scottish football. Here are just a few of the most iconic. The Old Firm Derby. The Old Firm Derby is the name given to matches between Celtics and Rangers, and is one of the most intense and passionate rivalries in football. The matches are known for their high levels of emotion and tension, with both sets of fans deeply invested in the outcome. Number 1. Federer vs. Nadal. The rivalry between Roger Federer and Rafael Nadal is one of the most intense in the world of tennis. These 2 players have faced each other in some of the most iconic matches in tennis history, and their matchups are always eagerly anticipated by fans around the world. The Federer-Nadal rivalry has produced some of the greatest players and moments in the history of tennis. Here are just a few of the most iconic. Wimbledon 2008. The 2008 Wimbledon final is widely regarded as one of the greatest matches in the history of tennis. The match saw Federer and Nadal battle it out over 5 sets, with Nadal ultimately emerging victorious. And that concludes our countdown of the top 10 most intense sports rivalries. Thank you for joining us, and we hope you enjoyed the list.